بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمد ونصلي على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني رب يسر الخير والتعميم لا تزيد يا أبو هريرة رضي الله عنه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم Right. So this hadith emphasizes the Prophet waiting for Salah is Ibadah, while the one calls for sitting against the disbelievers, meaning fighting against the believers, disbelievers. The others is to sit against Shaitan, who is the biggest enemy of Islam. The same reward as for Ibadah is promised for waiting for Salah. Right. So amongst the fard of wudu, it is four. That is to wash the entire face, to wash the arms up until the and including the elbows, to wipe a quarter of the head, and to wash the feet right up and including the ankles. Right? That is the fard of wudu. Then the sunnah of wudu is to wash the hands until the wrist, to say Bismillah at the beginning of the wudu, to use the miswak, to clean the mouth, the teeth during wudu, to gargle the mouth, to rinse the nose with water, to make khilal of the beard with the fingers, to wash every limb 3 times, to make intention for wudu, to follow the same sequence as has been mentioned in the Quran, that is to wash first the face, then the arms, then the masa of the head, and then the feet. That is the sequence. Then to make masa of the whole head, to wash the limbs that are washed in wudu in quick succession, not to delay during the wudu. Once you wash the one limb, you move on to the next limb. To wipe the ears together with the head with the same wet fingers without taking fresh water. So as you make masa, after you finish masa, you put the wet fingers into the ears. And then there's certain acts which is mustahab in wudu, and that is to begin washing the limbs from the right hand side, meaning when you're washing your hands, your arms first, the right arm before the left, to make masa of the nape, to sit facing Qibla, when washing the limbs, to rub each time, each limb with the first washing, to make wudu ahead of time, before the time, not to leave it for the last minute. If a person has a ring on, then to move the ring so that the water can pass through. That is, if you are certain that the water will pass through with moving the ring. If you are uncertain if the water will pass through with moving the ring, then you have to move the ring because the water has to get under. So if the ring is nice and loose, and just moving the ring, the water will go through. Then mustahab to move the ring. Otherwise, you know that no water is going to go past. Even if you move it, then you have to maybe take the ring off, right? And this is also applies to your booster. Very important. But to make sure that every portion gets wet, those rings must be removed. To perform wudu without seeking assistance from anybody, not to talk worldly things while during wudu, to recite Bismillah while washing every lump or wiping, making masa, to make the different du'as that is recommended at washing of different lumps, to make durood upon Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in completing the wudu, to make the dua after completing the wudu, and to read the shahada, to drink the leftover water from wudu, that if you're making wudu from a utensil, to drink a little bit of the leftover water while standing and facing the Qibla, to ensure the portion under the eyebrows, on the eyelid, right, in the corner of the eye, and if a person has a bit of a moustache, to ensure that that portion are wet when making wudu, and the whole foot, maybe in between the toes, ensure all of that is wet. Then the certain things that are makruh in wudu, that is to splash the water on one's face. Just throw it and splash it onto the face strongly. To be wasteful and using more water than necessary. To wash each lump more than 3 times. And to make masa 3 times, every time using fresh water. Right? Those are the makruh things of the wudu. And then certain actions are forbidden. And that is, a person, a man, makes wudu with the leftover water of a female, right? If you have some leftover water in your utensil from a non-mahram female, then you don't use the same water to make wudu. Wudu must not be performed in an impure place. Mustn't sit in a napak area to make wudu. Right? And wudu must not be performed inside the masjid, where the water will fall into the masjid, onto the carpet. And then if you are making wudu from a utensil or from a puddle of water, not to spit back into the water, but to blow mucus into the water that other people will be making wudu from. Very, very unhygienic. Chalo, please. من توضأ فأحسن الوضوء فخرج So to make wudu is to wash away oneself, sins from oneself. So the better the wudu, the more the sins will fall off. Apart from taking a person from impurity to purity, also it purifies oneself from sins also. Apart from just making one pure for salah, giving you the taharat that you're allowed to perform salah, it also cleans away the sins, not only the impurity.